Alrighty then. Okay, let's get the Zoom going. Second that song, let's get this party started. This is Declaration of Independence Party. Uh, Running for the president of our beautiful United States. There's a lot of different things that we could go over and discuss, but I think I'm going to just make this kind of brief. Um, we've had an issue getting some of our technical things down to a pat, so please bypass them. Let me just set these flags correctly if we can do that. That's important to me, yeah. And let's bring this guy in to match this one. Let's bring it to the side of the heart. Wonderful. Okay, I feel better. I got my ladies close. All right. I've not had the opportunity to be presented as much as I really could, and although we do have a following, um, I feel I would have been much further, especially when I'm representing, is looking to reframe our Constitution of the United States, especially when we see so many different things like the 14th Amendment are so vague, and especially when it comes to voter suppression. These are the things that are extremely urgent that we see as in 7.9 billion people on the face of this earth, and America is 52 to 58% of the world's net worth daily. um, I honestly believe that we need to update our government. It's a beautiful thing to say, and I would only be looking out for them in a way where they might not be familiar with, I think, having a better protection thinking that than they have already. And I believe it is exactly that. There's a lot of different things that we have going on, and there's so much that was stuck from what? Less than a billion people on the face of the globe when the Constitution was made. But the Declaration of Independence is the guide that has been avoided. Why did 13 years pass from the Declaration to make the Constitution? Why did the Declaration have the words in some of the drafts when you can Google them, in fact? Do a zoom out on it and zoom in, you'll see it very clearly. The word United States with capital straight across the board. There wasn't a question about it. Now the finished version from Ben Matlock, who ended up drafting it, who wasn't an American anyway. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but you know, our immigrants are protected within the Declaration, but we don't really see clear, definitive objectives. They were masters at zooming out things, so I'm not going to really go in too far with this. However, I would just like to say a couple things. I'm going to say the topics, and that's it. I'm going to bail out, make it nice and simple for everyone. I think these are the things that no one is facing. I'll speak of the pandemic last. Okay, we'll add that. We have hunger. 1 in 6 people go hungry every day. 1 in 8 people are now on the SNAP program. Imagine we had, which from what I remembered and calculating some numbers before the pandemic, we're not seeing honest numbers. We're not. And I believe all of you need to see that to be compelled to see the real circumstances so you can act right, so you can vote right, so you can feel when you make a decision it is right. Because we really don't have vetted news today. That's a fact. So that's another thing I'd like to do is a just within our Constitution, matching our Declaration of Independence, thus the Declaration of Independence Party. That's exactly why we're modeling from a framing. And what right do I have? You think I'm not political a little bit? I am a little bit. I've had a school shut down. We had it reopened. A couple of partners in my I haven't been exposed as much as I really should be. I've had some digital damages and how these things are happening. That they need, it's another thing I'd like to face is making laws to protect our digital abilities. And I'm a perfect example. I've had emails deleted completely on me that had very pertinent information. I've had a text taken out of one phone, so we could see some dirty, underhanded things. As far as I'm concerned, when that gets done to a presidential candidate, you should be shot. I'm sorry. Democracy is what it is about for every one of you who really, really want it. And those who aren't afraid to shoot someone anyway, well, now you understand what you have may come back in that way. Why not? If you're doing it already, then I feel it's only fair to protect our real democracy. What's democracy? This is another definition I'd like to speak of, is why we are defining real things and we're undefining them on what they don't really represent. So, what does that really mean? So, what is democracy? Democracy means that through all the people, now we're in a modern age right now, we're not 244 years ago. There is no more avid slavery to the point where it's questionable within someone going to jail, but when you're on the public streets, you shouldn't be considered that, and there shouldn't be incantations making people feel like that. So we're redefining what it is. Democracy is including everyone. Now, the 14th Amendment in our Constitution does not protect voting per se. That's a fact. So this is what I would like to reaffirm, because when I hear new justices, Chief Justice get sworn in, I bless every one of them and bless them that they're only going to follow the Constitution. I love it, except it's not modeling the Declaration of Independence. No, it's not. This is where we can advance our society, because a document that was already resoluted, it is our resolution. 56 people gave their lives. I wrote a book about this. Very beautiful, very amazing. Every 3 and 5 words, it is a guide from birth to death, whether you're a person, business, or government. Honestly, there are some people who follow some, so to speak, grand orders, and bless them. Hey, it's all good. We're going to advance that. We have to. If they want to have a stature to play with the big boys, they need to act like big boys and conclude what it is that's been started. I think that is relative to their cycling detrimentally. Let's move on. So let's get back one step. So democracy needs to be where one thing I promise to do, it has to be this way, is to protect voting for every American citizen. Let's not have it be vague. Yes, I would like to limit people who are coming in. And yes, I'd like to have it be fair. And yes, I would like to limit, if someone's coming here illegally, that there are certain rights you will not have. You need to come here, write, and file, and you need to announce yourself, the stability and a forward motion, what the Declaration mentions, which my grandfather went through. Probably 80% of us in all of America wouldn't even be here if someone who wasn't an immigrant didn't come first. It's true. So how many of you have descendants that you might not know? Why? Why are we so stuck in the moment, and what? We said never forget. Why are we forgetting? Why are we forgetting our declaration? If we say never forget, then we have to remember everything. We can't just say, okay, we'll only remember this, because then it isolates people. This is the problem with stereotyping today. So the definition of democracy needs to be protected, and it needs to secure every person by law. That is what I would like to do. We have social media. We're on it right now. All these pandemic things, pandemic circumstances and guidelines. You know, we're kind of limited, and rightfully so, to protect. Honestly, I'll just add something about the pandemic in the end. For the things I've accomplished in my life, please check out timetojoin.us, my site. I figured I didn't want to call it Charles Richard Zerilli. I kind of would like to, but I felt it was more important that the brand be Time to Join. we are all in power when we join. Can any one army man win a war, or someone from who's a Marine or Special Ops by himself? No. Don't get me wrong. They're American. They're going to give it a good go. There's no question about it. However, if you're up against millions of other people, you need to combat and commandeer that against the equivalents. So one person, and however, every one of you, we become that team when we join. Time to join. Please check it out. And I've also included a phone number on the bottom for those who are senior citizens. Those who don't want to listen, please give them this phone number, 718-865-8720. Everything by design, which is professionality of mine out of the call sign for those fellow hams out there. I'll give you a shout. What's up, ham brothers? You all right? All right, please trust in me. You know I'm a technical person. I passed Morse code, 5 words a minute, 197 right out of 200 characters. 200 words, I believe it was. Probably characters, but it was 5 words per minute. Yeah, it would make sense. So I didn't, I was like, oh my gosh, and I love learning. You can't learn everything, but we can't be stuck in the moment always unless that's the focus. And the focus right now, reframing our Constitution to then end up matching the Declaration of Independence and been into a new ushering relative to the solidarity and the respect of making a new America. We've always been great. We've always been the strongest. Add the whole armed forces up to the whole entire globe, approximately 2.5 times the world combined is what we equivalent to. We do the most business, 52 to 58% of the world daily. We're making record profit, corporation highs. When one of the companies now that because of the pandemic are making billions and billions, in fact, anyone who knows a financial stasis, when I say this, you'll know who I'm talking about, but I don't want to really mention their name because they just need to be part of our system, irrelevant to who they are. Nothing personal. But they made $13 billion in one day because of this pandemic. So where is the balance that we balance that going homeless, people are food insecure? What the heck garbage word is that? They're hungry. Can you feel being hungry? How many of you? 1 in 5. I mean, are hungry, food starved every day. It's a fact in our numbers now. 1 in 6, forgive me. 1 in 8 are on the SNAP program, and we're kind of, helping people out to the best degree, but it's not back to normal life. And where do you see a promise by design? Because what we were before was also a design, and what we see happening right now is haphazard. I'm sorry. I don't care if it's JB, DJT, I see it as haphazard. They don't do design. Blueprints is what I do. In fact, maybe I could put my hands on one right here, on one of my blueprints. And I'd like to show that if I may. It is relative to what I do. And I think it's relative to be able to show, because when we deal with everything that we do, I think it's relative to have someone who does blueprints and does design. So this is relative to, which is direct blueprint. And this is my doing. In this case, I hired a drafter, not a drafter, but a CAD guy. And I said, I'd like you to sit here and we're going to sketch this room out. We're going to do 40,000 square foot building. That's one of the Paramount theaters I'm partners of. I've been a real estate entrepreneur. Let me rephrase that. Real estate entrepreneur for 20 years. Probably a little bit over than that. And I've had various things go on. I have 10 and 17, 20 years. And I let them know this is your home. People think, oh, it's your house. No, don't say it's your home. I want to create the feeling. I want to create beautiful. I want to beautify what America is and our peoples, as well as I'm going to say things that probably a lot of people might not like. Some people might not like. Every president is going to have some of those things, but I want to be forthright about that. I want to be upfront. And I didn't write any of this in a speech. So, and I don't personally have a speechwriter. So my words are from my heart. I want to add a wise, strong heart and a professional on one side And I'm also not afraid to be in the street and get my hands dirty in a heartbeat. Um, 40 years as a contractor with an excellent record. None of these people have a professional repair rate. So this is, I think, important to have someone who's slightly a little political, but saying it's human, because the Declaration says, quote, one of the course of human events has become necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another and to assume among the powers of our earth. Well, the license I just told you about before, we don't need gasoline. However, I don't want to destroy the people at the top. I don't want to destroy the abilities of our national securities. Those who are already set, we need to use them as a tool. I don't know if they really be liking to hear that like that way, but however, you need to know that that's what my intention is to bring them in. Otherwise, what's going to happen? Do the math on this. We're going to fight each other. How much money these people have to fight? A lot. By design, if we like Benjamin Franklin did, I feel like I'm doing a Benjamin Franklin move. Let's bring it in. Let's find the commonalities and let's make it work. And the thumbs are up. Guess what? And it works. That's how we do it. It's the best. You always find a commonality because everyone wants something different by design. Think about it. You know, the Mayans, the Aztecs had knew that we had 140 personality realities. So let's talk about design. So we're considering all this as part of our beautiful country and everything that exists. We now have our climate. I was one of the first people who wrote about that, and I made a video about it. And I'm glad. I'm glad that I did that. I never made a video before that in my life, ever. So please acknowledge that I'm reinventing myself. My name is Charles Richard Zarelli, running for the president of our beautiful United States. And I need your vote. I need your help. Vote minimum, and then anything past that. So as I stick my foot into the dipping pond and to go to stretch my wings out, I need your assistance to boost me up to get me where I need to be. This is the only way it's going to work is if someone wants to reframe the Constitution with so many people who want to follow the law. And while the Declaration might avidly not be considered a legal binding document beyond the Constitution, unless you say so, then it's not ever going to be. But however, if we change the Constitution to match the Declaration, then there's a fortress of power that's going to create an equality, a balance. Racial equality would be a standard, that all men are created equal, and we hold these truths to be self-evident, with certain unalienable rights endowed by our Creator. Notice it didn't say the word God, but it did say the word laws of nature and of nature's God. And that is only two things of science that meld. So let's continue. But the Declaration is huge. Who are needing to follow the law, and all these judges who have to follow the law, if we change it, they have to follow it. Boom, problem solved. It doesn't hurt anyone because it's the people. I would like to use social media to bring you in, to know what you're thinking, to have all of us to be part of our system. I want that so bad. I really, really, really would appreciate that. So let's continue. So we need to put back democracy in the way that it is. We need to protect it by law. We have sluggish healthcare. So many people right now, and that is what's bogging people down to become more homeless and lose everything they ever had, was because of health issues as far as healthcare. An ad that I haven't looked into this, but in Florida, one of the parts of Florida is Miami somewhere. Excuse me. It's going to be underwater soon, but the water supplies are going to be affected soon. I said this 4 years ago. Not that particularly, but I said our climate is going to affect every living thing, every animal, every insect. And in the United States, we're very lucky, so we really don't see it. But we could see very simply that the United States is blessed because we're not really directly affected like other places around the globe. America is like only 5% of the world's population size of mass land. So take out one nickel, and the land we represent is like one nickel out of 20. That's the size mass land that we represent. But we consume 30% of the world's resources. this is kind of like huge. If we own more than half of the world's business, it's our liability for every one of you to get out and vote and to be part of this. So, so this is part of what we see. There's no question about it. So we have sluggish healthcare that needs to be, in healthcare for all needs to be done. It needs to be done how logically it can be done. With record profit corporation highs, we can easily do this. We just have to stimulate the Congress and the House to make sure that the bills that are going through don't get all bogged down where it sounds like one thing and then it gets stopped. It's the people who will voice what you want. The Congress and everyone and all these, every politician listens to us. And I would want to listen to you. And that's what I want to use social media for, so you can input, because as a president, I would want guidance to know what the people truly want. And I want to see the polls myself. I want to make them protected, because if you fake with information, then it leads people misguided. We can't advance our civilization. So that's it. Let me move on. It shouldn't be, we should think about pro-political abilities. Our Constitution says, stop the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of our earth. Where does that go? Where do we take this? How could we avoid what that says when we need, energy relative things? We don't need gasoline. And as far as how I see it, I would implement these things honestly 10 years or less. I'm a professional technician. I want to say really honestly, it's like 99%, but I'm going to say 97%. This way I'll be able to crush anyone who's going to argue with it. I'm excellent. I'm mechanically oriented, science oriented. I'm excellent with forensics and physics. I have several licenses to prove it, and a couple of them have the word master in it. I have 5 EPA certifications. You should know some of the things about me, but some people say, well, he's not really political. But when I'm sticking up for our environment and for you, I'm sticking up for so many different things, and people know that. I'm not going to say it this evening. When I get national, we can unfold a whole bunch of stuff, but it means you have to believe in me now. What you heard already should turn you on, and I hope it does. I want to turn on those people who are turned off. I'm like one of those people, because when I see so much political stuff, I don't relate to these people not doing it correctly. I don't relate to it. Professionally, I know other people who are very professional repair people, licensed and non-licensed. We go in, we take seriously what we do. We fix it. We have restitution. We get taken care of and out. What my restitution is the love for our children, the love for you. I don't have to have necessarily to be rich, whatever this is for. Some people think it's going to be, but I already know it'll be a byproduct. Once someone becomes a president, the opportunities will open up. So without even thinking about that, I want to be honest, those naturally unfold. It's part of when you understand design, certain things have to be. Build a building, people have to go to the bathroom. You know what I mean? How many people are going to be in there by the New York City code? There's so many bathrooms that we put in. That's the code. That's the law. So by happenstance, by when you do certain things, those other things fold automatically. So, and unfold as well. They both. So we need to change our Constitution, reframe her. There's time to update. You update your phone, you update your computers, right? Everything gets updated. It's now time to update our Constitution, updating our government. It allows new laws to be made. Voter suppression should not be in 27 states. We're having other countries mess with our voting. This should be an act of war. I'm not playing games. Like I said, I like to say I'm street and strip, because you have to understand when you do race cars, and when I was younger, we did. I mean, street, you're so luxury, and everything is plush, and everything is good, and all of a sudden you come to the strip part of it, and you have the most fastest, best performed, or one of the top race cars. Although I never had many chances to have top level cars, it was just about the fun of it, going down there, meeting all the people, seeing other guys, talking the lingo. And it's just great. I really didn't care if I won or not with that. I mean, we need to win for America, and you need to help me win. You vote for me, you're voting for you. And it's true, because my empathy is not turned off, and I love us. And by the way, the Declaration on 2 accounts mentions the word suffering. No one is talking about levels of suffering, how we need to gauge it to have it be an open conversation. It becomes pliable and amicable to speak of. And I would like a lot of you to rely on myself because I am a doer. I don't run when there's a problem and run away. I run at. Why? Because instinctively I fix things. When I see something that's not right, it's intuition. It's soaked in, like Alan Aspect, uh, Wilder Penfield, they proved we have DNA that becomes a non-locale memory. This is a fact. Science, quantum scientists. So is anyone else mentioning quantum science? We need to go into space, not with, having wars with other people. We need to know, are we making people and making friends? There's billions and billions because the Hubble Space Telescope proved it. If we think we're the only people on the face of the whole entire expanse, not just one globe, one planet, but all over, if we think there's only human life, I disagree. To me, it would be by design because billions of planets exist. Our creator made it, I believe. Unless we become too advanced, we won't have the opportunity to meet anyone on a friendly basis. That's why it takes space travel to be able to get that. Our creator is very brilliant, and I have respect for science completely, as well as I believe God made us all part of science. You believe in God, you believe in science. Every human being pees nitric acid. Forgive me for being blunt, but we got to talk about the real things, and this is who we are as human beings. So, um, so I think the word socialism and democracy have been downplayed, and I think those are really important. I think understanding our hunger problems are really important, and our climate needs to be fixed. I see it fixed already as a professional troubleshooter, and with an excellent record, 97%. It's really like 99, but I'll say 97 this way. Like I said before, people want to challenge me with it. I'll make you eat dust. Bring it. So, and I say that respectfully for us as people. You have to feel like you have an advocate. I am that. And who will be the vice president? You should already kind of know by some of the things I had said who I may be picking. So, so 1 in 6 people are hungry. Please open your heart, open your mind, heart awake. Heart awake. Be strong about it. Rely on, let me get my finger right, Charles Richard Zarelli, Declaration of Independence Party. And that's myself, moi, at your service. And I left the most important thing for last. 2 most important things. One is the climate. It is an emergency. Did anyone here, climate scientists got together and they said it's going to be 7 years. And when I heard it last week, and 11 days, 111 days, 110 days, whatever it was, what's the difference of a day? And that's not even on the money. It can't be. However, I do predictions and number calculations and configuration extrapolations. I am a professional at this. Having our team America, with all the scientists and all the things, they won't be talked down. I need to confer to them. I already have understandings. They tell me something, no one else as coming in as a presidential candidate can make their mind up to say this definitively. I can. The science in myself, in my mind, and what I've accomplished is very clear. The things I've invented, the things I've put together, none of these other guys have. So I don't want to talk down about them. What do? Try to make entertainment from you, trash these guys? Put me in a debate with them. I'll ring circles around them because we'll talk about real science, real life, what you really need. And then you'll get me going a little bit because that's when you'll see me go a little bit further. I know you'll love it. And I have a surprise too. Put me national. You're going to love this one. By the way, if you have a moment, go on to timetojoin.us. I need your help. I need your vote. Please, 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 please. We need to have someone who's one of you be put into the White House to have an established balance. Let's not have it go fluttering. We can see this for the last 244 years with racial inequality and our climate now being looked at like the same way. Not acceptable. I demand my niece have a safe retirement. So the climate is an emergency. I had said it then, Charles Ozarelli, for president in 2016. And now I'm saying it again. And it's important that you have someone who is a science person coming to step up to the plate with not just a baseball bat, but one that's now digital. Everything else is digital today. Because now I'll be able to swing the bat, and no matter what, it's going to find it and hit it for me. We have the digital stuff. Let's rely on that thing. Let's not use Moore's law. How so many digital things have been created, and we're now faster in speed to destroy things than if we had to fix them. The climate is exactly a good example. But how will that be oriented when someone is, and they'll be going with all these things they're not sure of? I am rock solid sure. I said it in 2016. We need to do this. Charles Richard Zarelli for president. You can second guess it, but please compare me, evaluate me. You want to ask me a personal question, send me an email. Myself or one of my volunteers will answer this at this point. Anyone want to volunteer? You want to feel great about what we're doing? Please reach out. So the most important thing, I think, is definitely our climate. And then one notch that kind of goes almost hand in hand, although climate's more important. Right now, it is one of them that's critical for time, is the pandemic. You don't know what I accomplished, but I got insulin. They were born that way. Epigenetics is what I do behold. The guys that I have followed are documenting these things legally. So please let that be known, that these things are so possible, that even what Nikola Tesla had done that was so secret, but it shouldn't need to be, because we'll master it in a way. We will commandeer a #1 position around the globe. I won't have it any other way. America has always been #1, and all of you, all of us enjoy that. And as I am a commoner, fed up with our political positions and our overtones, we need to have political harmony. That means that things meld together, and when they marry, they become stable. Everyone, you know this, we don't have this. In 90 to 120 days, I feel very confident I will have this pandemic either done or spiraling down across every state for our land, for our country, for our nation. And that's how I'm going to leave it. My name is Charles Richard Zarelli. Those are some of the very few topics. I think one of the most important things that will reaffirm this is having someone come in like myself looking to frame her from the Declaration of Independence. When I hear statements like government sought instituted to secure these rights, let me start the beginning of that quote. To secure these rights, government sought instituted among men deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. It also mentions when we see a long train of abuses, it's time to redo our government. Quote, but when a long train of abuses and usurpations pursuing invariably the same object evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty. This is every one of you, national security, everyone, you're stuck in the middle, wherever you are, up, down, underground, above ground, wherever you're at. It is their duty to throw off such government to provide new guards for your future security. Same thing as our or your. Same thing to me. If it's yours, it's ours. What is mine is yours. I wish it could be just that simple when you're trying to make things work and of trust. You try to be ample, and even when I'm going down, I give more. God knows that of me. You should know that of me, please. The things I've sacrificed to be here to do this. I've given up my businesses. I've given up selling electric with one of the companies. I'm a distributor for them. And they also sell solar and wind. So what I want to do is beyond that. Like I said, Nikola Tesla proved this. It was said later on that it wasn't, but that's not true. We don't even have real history. So these are some of the things that we need to have real history and have truth going forwards to make the right decisions, become a unified, respectful, not because we want to control everyone. It has to be controlled anyway. I want to say the both sides of that coin. Because you're Americans, we follow rules and regulations to some degree. It's who we always have been. So we don't want to hide that. And we want to say it for the truth. We want to say it for what exactly that it stands for, because it makes us #1 in the face of the globe. It's proud. We are proud. I am proud. But I want to follow whoever that is I'm following is leading me justly. I can follow, I could lead. I've trained hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. I'm an excellent judge of people. And we are many different styles and personality realities, quote unquote, from the aspects of the mind, but they knew we have 140 different abilities, and within them as they combine, I made up, I feel there's probably about I don't know if they're 140, combining with them, they are. So, you know, you're talking about millions if you do the combinations, like a lottery number. You have 56 numbers and how many opportunities to win when you pick those numbers. It's the same. So I do believe we have a vast amount of combinations, that we are beautiful. One of my mottos, we are beautiful. From my heart, I say that with my mind. So, pandemic, I believe we have to get sports back to normal, people back to normal, and I don't believe people should be held at bay. I don't see us handling it correctly. I don't see us testing us as a professional would remediate something much quicker. I've been the guy that called me A to Z and the doctor. I didn't hex for those names, you know, and only after like 4, 5, 6, 7 years did I realize, oh my gosh, like, wow, that's a huge compliment. I just focused on my work, did what had to be done. When I'm in the White House, I'll be one of the little pixie hat on, because like I don't want to say I'm going to be a geek about it, like, you know, but I'll be in tune. I'll be fortitude and destined to do this. I am destined to do this. Every show and tell me this. And whatever is in our way, we're going to remediate. We're going to make it work. We're going to balance. But to follow laws and rules through anything, even in the household, let's face it, it's reasonable. When I'm following what we have right now, when we're being hurt, our land is being hurt, our racial people, racial inequality right now are so protest all around, you know, the globe, and we're looking at them like, what? They're bad people? I disagree. And I'll go out and I'll be with every time I'm beyond finishing what I'm doing in the campaign, I support them. You have to, because they're voicing something. They're not bad people. They're just fed up. Racial inequality has always been this way. We've never had any president settle racial equality. So now these people are being killed. But let's face it, you know, our police really have the training in such certain ways that's kind of permitting that. The design of this is what I see. Not acceptable. I've had people in law enforcement. One of my close relatives was one of the first responders at 9/11. They were told they could breathe all the air. I knew a lot of people from Station 11, Station House 5 rather. A lot of them perished, but we're not even treating our national security people and our emergency responders with utmost respect and care. I demand that. So I'd like to pause at this moment and say thank you very much for listening. Thank you for tuning in. For those who are following, I cap you. I love us. As a people, we need to advance, and you need to love yourself and have respect, and have some respect for someone who is you. And please have some love for me and support me, because I am you. You are I. This is what's said, by the way. So some of the quantum physics. And I believe us advancing is going to be very, very, very pertinent for us to have faith. And for someone who's going to claim that I move away from being political to be human, the most important thing is implementing the Declaration of Independence, a party that joins all parties for a new solidarity. That's exactly what it is. But why strong heart? Once again, Charles Richards really at your service. I do appreciate those who are listening. Please visit the site timetojoin.us. And for the people who don't do computers and stuff, I've thought of you also part of design. I don't want to out our senior citizens, such beautiful people and such stories they have. I love speaking with these people. So 718-865-8720. I'm going to forward that a little bit so you can kind of get a glance of that. Be strong, be positive, be confident. See it done already. One thing I'd like to add, I may not look like Brad Pitt, and I might not have his abs. Sorry, Jen, don't be mad at me. But my heart and my mind are. And together, I am very confident. Love you all. Be strong, be confident, and see this done already, because I do. Please, I need your support. Your vote at minimum, any donations, anyone who wants to be on our team and feel great, because we are going to change the Constitution to match the Declaration, which is going to get rid of racial inequality. It must be. We need to advance as a society. As we update our phones and computers, we update the government, and the Constitution is the most foremost thing that will make that change. Thank you very much for listening, and have a wonderful day. Be safe.